Might sound a little bit more tired than normal, only because I'm broadcasting from a hotel and it is 11 o'clock at night, so I don't want to be too loud. I want to be respectful of the people in the other rooms. And also, I've been talking nonstop for like 36 hours. So, yeah. Yep. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. So I found it necessary, or at least useful, or hopefully helpful, or relatively enriching to kind of discuss just a little bit about what's happening and give my absolute best just to help reassure some people. If anything, maybe I can do that, because I've already gotten about 7 emails, not from anyone here in this exact webinar right now, just looking at the attendee list. Most of you are all subscribers of Real Life Trading, at least thus far. But there's definitely some people out there who are just losing their minds. And want to just kind of talk through a little bit about what to happen. And I'm just going to start off by just simply saying what I think the market's going to do tomorrow, just kind of give you my insights based on previous data, right? Based on some previous information. What we have to understand is what just happened on the S&P and other, really pretty much all futures at this point, S&P, Russell, NASDAQ, is we have what's called a limit down. So there's actually a limit down and a limit up on futures. And that is if you have a 5% up move or down move between the hours of 5 p.m. and 8:30 a.m., if it reaches that midpoint of 5%, right, the futures price, the width between the close and the index value and where it's at, then it literally gets frozen. So futures are not trading right now. On the E-minis, you can't place a stop, you can't get out, you can't buy, you can't do anything. It is full on just pancake flat at this exact moment in time. Robert says, well, you can buy. You can, but it's going to be, it's going to be a little scary. So they're just pausing some things right now. And I actually think this is a good thing, because people do tend to react pretty emotionally and pretty scared. As Robert says, there's 5,400 people willing to sell to you if you're going to be buying right now. But we got to remember, there are times like this where you have to act relatively calm. You have to react relatively rationally. Yes, we are down. Yes, we have a big move. Right now, you're looking at about 17% on the S&P 500 from earlier, later in February. So let's just say the exact high, February 20th. Right now, we're down about 16.5%, which it feels a lot worse than that. It feels a lot scarier than that, but that is still really quite normal, really quite interesting, really quite okay for the most part. This is still a relatively healthy thing as far as just percentages go. Now, the most recent situation that I can recall, I do not recall the last limit down, so let me actually Google it really quick. But I can tell you the last time that things got this scary. The last limit down on the S&P, I believe it was 2016, but I can't remember, so let me just go and pull it up. David says November 2016, the Trump election. A 13% decline. Yes. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. 1 hour ago, Sunday halts for future. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's kind of interesting. Circuit breaker. Yeah, I think it was the 2016 market election. November 2016, because the Dow and the broader markets were down just like an astronomical amount. So we did rally from that. There was a substantial amount of buying. Like if we just pop back over and just kind of generally look at it. This is the daily chart, so it's actually probably better to go look at a 4-hour time frame, just so you can kind of see what really kind of transpired. So let me just kind of zoom out and go back over to that time frame. 2016, we're really going back now. Okay. So here it was, right here. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit, but this is the S&P futures, at least the S&P futures. And again, this is pretty much election night. And you were down at this particular point in time. There was like a 5%. So you can see it just kind of halted. It paused. It allowed people to stop freaking out, allowed people to stop, getting all rambunctiously excited and let's just sell everything. And then everyone woke up, they got a nice sleep and cleared the minds and go, wait a minute, this is, it's just still a president regardless of who it is. And the market has just rampaged since. So that's realistically it. As you're looking at it, I mean, that's that time frame. So you did get that pause during that move. So as you're looking at this limit down, the market should, at this particular point in time, unless you get an absorbent amount of something that's, I'm kind of in new territory here. If we start buying a lot throughout the night, a lot of people will start filling up the orders. You have Europe open, right? There's Asia open that's still available that can still come to fruition. You can cause the market to bounce at that particular point in time. At this particular juncture, the market should not reopen until 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So we should be closed until 8:30 a.m. If some things start to change, it'll be a little bit of an unfamiliar territory. The reason I'm bringing this up, I'm just not specifically a futures expert. I'm more or less here just to kind of calm people down. All right. Just to make sure no one jumps off of any bridges or sells all their possessions for, go down to the pawn shop and just buy guns. Take a deep breath. I know we're down. I know it's a little scary. I know that there's some people out there you're gonna be losing a little bit of money depending on the open. But here's what we got to understand. There is still a lot in the way causing this thing to just slowly taper off. Okay, this is the weekly chart. And again, the last massive times where we had these really, really big moves, the 200 simple on the weekly was an incredibly strong event. Back in August of 2015, right, August 24th, that's when the market was down and really, really big. So this was a specific event that I do have a video on. I was recording while the market was doing what it was doing. And what happened at that particular point in time is the brokers froze trading for a period of time to prevent people from doing anything astronomically dumb. So that was this day right here. So August 24th, you had a very, very huge, massive gap down, right? The S&P specifically wasn't gapping down that big, but it flashed so quickly and it was down so fast that brokers literally paused trading. You could not log in or log out and do anything. They paused all orders for like 30 minutes. And then, right, we slowly recovered out of it. Usually halts like this, they do stop fear. I think they are a good thing because many traders, institutional traders, sorry, not institutional traders, newer traders, retail traders were just getting into the market. Brand new people who've never been to the market before were literally buying at all-time highs a few weeks ago. And now they're terrified, they're scared, and they're selling. And again, as unfortunate as that is, well, that's just kind of the way it works sometimes. So as I'm looking at this, right, this really, really massive sell, this is when you're below all the moving averages on the daily chart. But if we pop over here to the weekly chart, again, this is really important to understand, at least in my opinion, is you were still holding strong some very, very key levels. So until we take out these massive key levels, I can't specifically say that this is the end of the world, that everything is over, that zombies are going to be taken over and, run for the hills. I just, based on pure technicals, we can't say that yet. This is going to get hyperextended. A lot of people are going to be terrified and panicked. I don't know how quickly we're going to make it down to 2,600. Could that happen this week? Yes. Will it happen? Maybe. Friday's candle was a very, very important candle. Let me just come over to the SPY really quickly. So the SPY was an incredibly important candle. This is some of the drawings I've done just recently. But this is a very important candle on the SPY because you had a very strong bullish candle, right? Good volume, a lot of buying towards the end of the day. So if I go to the 30-minute chart, you had tons and tons of buying right towards the end of the day. So all those people were trapped when it gapped down. That's why we sold off so quickly. You had a massive amount of buying right at the tail end, and now we're gapping down below everything, below all of this. So all of these people are trapped. It's bad. It's really, really bad. So yeah, there's a lot of panic right now. There's some serious, serious people that are just wigging out. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's good if you're bearish. But for tomorrow, what I'm personally expecting and anticipating is some type of what I would refer to as a relief candle. So a relief candle, if I just go to a daily chart, is going to look a little bit like the one that we had in August 2015, right here. You can almost expect this exact candle tomorrow. Very, very likely that we're going to get something like that, because the fear, the panic, the terrifying things that are happening are gripping people right now, and they're going to react emotionally tonight, right? They're going to be reacting emotionally tomorrow. Everyone's going to be selling. Everyone's going to be panicking pretty much at open. And I think I can go in and look at that chart on a 15-minute chart, so you can just kind of see what did end up happening. 2015, 08, 24. I think I can go back that far. I can only go back to 2018 on a 15 minutes. Let me try a 30-minute, see if that works. And again, I might not be able to go back that far, and if I can't, it's all right. 2017, nope, okay. So I can't look at the intraday charts, but I do have some videos that I was recording on that exact day. So if I just go back really quick, this is very, very likely what's going to happen tomorrow. And the ironic part is I actually do have a presentation tomorrow morning in New York City in front of hundreds of people at 8 o'clock Eastern. Like, this is going to be, if I get this correct tomorrow, it's going to be one of the most legendary things that have ever happened. So it's going to be just an absolute insane, insane morning. I don't know how much I'm going to sleep. I got to do my best to sleep, because I have, like I said, it's going to be a big presentation, but it's going to be legendary. There's going to be a lot going on. I am expecting almost this exact candle tomorrow. I really, really am. This is probably what is going to occur. You're going to have a massive exodus. People are just going to lose their minds. Terrified. You're going to get massive selling. Boom. Stop orders getting hit. People cashing out of 401ks, selling IRAs. There's going to be sheer panic for 30 minutes. And then you're going to have like a 4 or 5% rally within minutes, like 30, 40 minutes. You're going to have this just insane, insane rally. We're going to slowly trickle down the rest of the day, and they're going to have a little bit of a pop towards the end, and that'll probably be it. Now, if that doesn't happen, we're going to hit a circuit breaker tomorrow. That's the only other two options. So one of those two things will occur. We likely stabilize after some immediate selling, or we turn on the circuit breakers tomorrow. And the SPY has just a huge, huge drop, 8, 9%, where again, 8, 9% is scary for sure, especially in one day. But that's still 270, 260, 269, something like that. So that can happen, and that very well could. So if we trade into 270, personally for me, all of my trades, I'm still fine. So I want all of you guys to know, for me personally, I'm still totally okay at 270. Don't have any issues there. 260, I'm still okay. 250, there's some concerns. 240, I'm going to get margin called. 230, we'll see. If we hit 210 between now and March 20th, which is 30% lower than where we are now, which would be a 45% drop. Sorry, 35% drop from the highs. It'll be bad for me. Could it happen? Sure. I'm going to hedge on the way down. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be protecting. I'm going to be buying some puts if it really starts getting that bloody. But we're going to find out pretty early tomorrow morning what's going to happen. And those are the only two choices. Again, either circuit breaker tomorrow, or we get some type of relief candle relatively early within the first hour or so. So here's a quick chart. Thank you, Robert, for posting this. What are price limits and how they function? So this is kind of like some of the circuit breaker information. So 8:30, these are Central Time because of Chicago. So 8:30 a.m. to 2:25 p.m. Central, there are successive price limits corresponding to 7, 13, and 20% declines below the previous day's trading price. Okay, so level 1, this is where it shuts off. Anytime between here. So level 1 means we get a 7% decline, you get some circuit breakers. And then they reopen. If we get a 13%, then again, this comes on. Then they reopen and we get a 20% decline, then it's toast. It's frozen for the day. From 2:25 until 3 Central, close of the cash equity market, only 20% limit will be applicable. So again, at that particular point, frozen. Now, if you're brand new to trading, all right, if you're brand new, and some of you are, some of you might be, if you're listening to this webinar video or wherever you might be watching it, you might be terrified. If you are, don't trade that much tomorrow. Just wait it out. I know it's going to be hard. I know it'll be scary, but you get to just watch kind of what happens. I don't personally know what's going to happen tomorrow for sure, but those are the two choices that I see. We either get a relief candle or we get a halt. And halts are kind of rare, but they can happen. I have not personally traded through that many halts in my trading career. On the broader markets, like on the general S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, the flash crash was one of the most recent. That was 2010. And usually the halts, John, last somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, and it can kind of depend. Arabia says, is the additional percentage declines from the first halt or cumulative? Cumulative. Yep, total. So not an addition to the first halt. It's a great question. So it's a cumulative percentage from previous day's close. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is I know it's going to get a little scary. There are some people up in New York who are just absolutely freaking out. And there's also other people who still think that this is just kind of ridiculous. And there are people who are getting into the market. You know, they're starting to tiptoe in. So if you have a long enough time horizon, all events that I've ever traded that have had similar instances to this have been recovered, and we've gone on to make new highs. Is this the absolute top of the market? I really, really do not think so, personally, just based on, I mean, so much data. So let's just do this. I did a little bit of this today. I had a 3-hour session today where I back traded many of these recent crashes and these recent drops to just kind of get people a good feel in a general, just like what happens in a situation like this. So let's just go back to 1987 so you can just kind of generally see how quick we did this. So if I'm zooming into 1987, so this is, again, back in October 1987, October, pretty weak month historically. And on these drops, you had a 30% drop in the course of days, right? So it can happen. You can have insane drops. And again, you'll notice, look how crazy we just shredded through those long-term averages. You get insane price discovery. You get sheer panic. Buyers don't step in. People are scared. People are terrified. People don't know when to get in. They panic. But in 1987, what happened is we did recover those lows. We did hang on, and we did rally out of that strongly, in fact, strongly. That's a very, very important thing to understand, right? That was a huge, huge correction. Unquestionably, it was very fast, kind of shocking. Yeah, some people made some money on it, but it was relatively unprecedented. And it's just one of those situations where you got to be relatively cautious. You got to be concerned with risk. You have to know your overall risk exposure. You got to know where you're at. And you got to be okay with whatever happens to the market. You can always get these random, weird, insane, strange events. It's extremely, extremely rare. And when they do happen, very frequently, you're going to get an opposite and equal reaction. So again, after that drop on 1987, you probably have heard about 1999, 2000. I mean, look how well we recovered and just absolutely dominated. Now, the interesting thing is, when we recovered and we made a new high, what did all the noobs do? That's where the noobs buy right here, and they got shook out. And then we recovered from that shakeout. And then what did all the noobs do there? They went long. What did they do there? They got shooken out. Then we made a new high. What did the noobs do? They bought. They got shaken out. You guys get the picture? The point of trading is to find things that you can, at some point, hopefully, buy as low as you possibly can and own it. And if you're trading a broader market ETF, right, SPY, Dow Jones, Russell, they're not going to go to zero tomorrow. They're not going to ever go to zero. If the broader markets go to zero, you have a lot bigger problems about your life than what your retirement savings are going to be doing. So just kind of understand that if you're putting in orders right now for the broader market, I would be putting into some what I call puke orders. So puke orders is, again, just very, very low limits that can get hit. So low limits where you're trying to buy something. So if it's like, boom, something like that happens, throw in some puke orders. Now, don't throw in massive, massive size. So let's just go over to Amazon as an example. Amazon's going to be a fan favorite for a lot of people. Amazon, they still make money. Okay. Yep. Everyone's being impacted. But if you're throwing in a puke order on Amazon, 1654. Are we going to hit that tomorrow? Hopefully not. I don't have any position on Amazon right now, but can we hit it tomorrow? Absolutely. 1654 would be 13% down. Again, could we hit it tomorrow? Sure. It's theoretically possible. Could we hit it next week? It is very possible we could hit it next week. But how many shares would you buy there? Again, it's up to you, but it wouldn't be like thousands or even hundreds, most likely. You're probably buying 5 or 10 just to scale into a position so that you allow yourself that really quick, flexible type of move like this. I do not think we V-bottom out of this virus thing. I don't think we just do this. I highly, highly, highly doubt that. Most likely we do something like very, very similar. We're going to get like that. We're going to get this chop that lasts a very long time, and then we go higher. Still, overall, in my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I know that this is going to have some type of impact on GDP. I realize that you're going to have some global shakeouts from travel and things like that will occur over time from all of this. But it is still media frenzy, in my opinion. People are still rigging out about the wrong things. They're still focused on the wrong things. People not even shaking hands at this event. They're all touching elbows. And I'm like, if you have the flu, you're still contagious, regardless if you're shaking people's hands or not. Okay? You don't have to touch someone to get the flu, people. It's just called common sense. Like, if you're sick, stay home. Don't get people infected, right? If you're contagious, regardless of what you have, you don't have to touch that person to get it, unless it's, a specifically transmitted disease. So just something to realize, just something to keep in mind. It's going to be relatively interesting, but there's a little bit of a pop that just came in. Okay. So Falco is out. He was in long. So you got saved, Robert. Congratulations. So again, we talked about that. I mentioned that unless some buying came in, right? So there was the buying. So I'm very, very happy. Now, can we go lower from here? That's the question. The answer is generally not. We shouldn't. That's the low limit. So we can do this most of the night. Okay. The reason I wanted to do this video is because, more or less, to prove about 400 people on Twitter incorrect. They mentioned that there was no chance that it was going to pop higher for the day. I was like, well, guys, if enough buyers pile in and buy it up, it will, because it's a low limit. It's called a low limit, right? Means it can't go lower, but it can go higher. All right, you guys get what I'm saying? That's a really cool move right there. So, Robert, I'm glad you were able to get out, because Robert went long right at this low. And again, it wasn't a bad place to go long. It just, that was a low limit. So low limit came in. It's not going to be shorting, and buyers are stepping in because they're realizing. Maybe they're even listening to this webinar. How many people are in this webinar right now? Oh, wow. There's a lot of you here. Oh, geez. That's cool. So anyway, Joe says, yes, and thank you for showing the pause thresholds. I forget the correct name. No worries, man. And again, folks, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this. As far as just futures specifically, I don't trade futures all that often. I'm not the greatest futures trader in the world. I don't know a vast amount about a lot of the time frames and instruments and things of that nature, but I do know how markets work. I do know how supply and demand works, and I do know how limits work. So in the overall scheme of things, in this particular regard, my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen, don't freak out. That's what I'm gonna try to say. I hope that helps. Maybe I hope it kind of gives you some just guidance. Don't freak out in this scenario. Whatever you do, do not react emotionally, please. If you react emotionally in this particular environment, it will cost you. In fact, I'm trying to determine how much money I can put into this move bullish. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm going to lose some money. If I'm right, I'm going to be a hero, because I personally am looking for longs all across the board. I'm looking at selling volatility any chance I can get. I don't think that this is massively as terrible as people are leading on. I think this is a very natural, percentage-wise correction. I think this was needed. I would love some people to be trapped. I'd love for the S&P to eventually pull down to 2,700, 2,600, and then get some bouncing. I think that'd be great. I do know of investors personally who are willing to buy the dip. I do know of some demand personally that's going to be coming in and buying up some stocks at these levels. I don't think the virus is that big of a deal. Spring is right around the corner. So as it warms up, that becomes less and less of a concern anyway. So granted, not being a doctor, not being a healthcare professional, I think a lot of the healthcare professionals that I have spoken to personally also think that masks don't really keep you from being infected by a contagious disease anyway. So if you're going to get sick, you're probably going to get sick. If you're going to stay home all the time and just close yourself in a bubble, that's fine. I'm still going to go out and do things, given the opportunity to do so. And hey, be safe, right? Don't do anything maliciously terrible with your time or energy. But that was the reason I want to come on here, is because everyone, just so many people are asking, like, is this going to open up? Is this going to be closed all night long? And the answer is only if no one buys it. You know, it's a loss limit down, so it can open up. People can get in and get out right now. You can buy. You can be buying. I'm not necessarily saying you quote unquote should, because if it trades down into here, right, that's the loss limit. But it is open right now. You can see it. So any questions while I'm here, folks? Any particular stock you want me to review? There's a lot of you that are tuning in right now, which is great. And again, I appreciate you being here. I just want to do my absolute best to help out. I wasn't trying to make any kind of statement politically or economically or rationally. Just want to do my absolute best to help. And that's really it. So cool. All right. You guys good? Joe says SPXL. I'm entering it in small amounts as it goes down to play it long, lowering my cost average. Yeah, man. So this is just a very, very aggressive 3x ETF. I want you to know, Joe, that ETFs like this can get absolutely demolished. I just want you to know that. Even though the SPY is not going to go to zero, this can. Because it is an ETF. Right? So just roger that. As long as you're cool on that, it can happen. It's rare. It's very, very rare. But 3X and triple leverage ETFs can absolutely get smoked, because they're all based on volatility. And the more volatility that comes in, you have to remember that people have to trade these things. So if someone's buying the SPY instead of this because it's too much volatility, these things can get unbridged. And if they go to a certain level and they have to get delisted or inverted, and then people stop buying them, and people stop buying them, they can't go to zero. So just know that is a case. Be aware of that scenario. But if you're just small dips, putting your pinky toe in, 10 shares here, 20 shares there, 30 shares there, I get it. Totally understand. I don't have any position on this one personally, but I do absolutely think that just like the SPY, we're going to get some buying off of the 200, and things should kind of calm down just a little bit. Okay, David says, dude, thanks for taking the time. My pleasure. Emmanuel says, aloha, Jan. IMNGILD. Very nice. Congratulations. Joe says, roger that. Sherry wants to look at Zoom, Crowd, and UVXY. So Zoom is one that I've missed. Totally missing this position. It's Yeah, everyone's using Zoom because no one wants to go outdoors apparently and talk to people. I get it. I understand. I I think I'm just looking at this from a basic technical analysis chart. I'm not buying up here. This is beautiful trend, gorgeous volume, great candles. I would just buy the dip. The chart looks good. The company looks good. The price to sales are a little bit high. Revenues are okay. I do like the product. I know exactly how they make money. I have to spend money with Zoom. I pay them. But I would like to see it pull back into 101, 103, 100, something like that before I played anything on Zoom. CrowdStrike, I don't specifically have anything on CrowdStrike. I don't have any position on CrowdStrike. It's going to react with the market right now. So CrowdStrike's going to be pretty bearish. If you're playing CrowdStrike, I mean, this is one that just looking at the chart, you could have a puke order somewhere around 40. That could hit tomorrow pretty easily. We could gap down, flash really low into 40, and then kind of bounce on CrowdStrike. So again, just kind of my thought, my perspective. If you're looking at buying some shares of CrowdStrike, I don't have any position on it, but if you did, if you want to, get in very, very small size, 45 and under, wait 3 or 4 weeks, and then see if you want to add to it later. And then UVXY, of course, this is the inverse, ladies and gentlemen. So this goes up when the market goes down. So tomorrow morning, this is probably going to open up at like, I don't know, 46, 40. It's going to be up pretty high. So this is going to gap up tomorrow, and a bunch of noobs are going to buy it. And then, again, we probably have a little bit of some type of recourse selling, most likely, on UVXY tomorrow. John Thaxton says, who would buy now, tonight, if markets is trying to go lower but being manipulated not to, could get lower price tomorrow? Well, exactly, John. That's 100% correct. Who would buy now? The people who know that it can't really go much lower, so they're kind of taking advantage of that. If you got an absolute floor on something, then buy it. You know, that's kind of the thing. Trader says, do you think this is more like 1987 or 2008? I'm trying to find a stock to back trade. I think this is more like 1987. Absolutely. In my personal opinion. We had a lot of good, really, really good presentations this weekend, and I still think we're in a secular bull market. If we go back to 1987 really quick, let's just go look at the Dow Jones since that question got asked. If I'm coming back here, right, notice, ladies and gentlemen, this is not 1987 right here. Check this out. Does this not look a little parallel to how we have now? We had this massive, 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 like 20-year distribution phase, and then we broke out, we retested, had a major, major, major run, and then just a massive crash. All right, check that out. So that's kind of like how that looks, right? Really, really big consolidation, 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 big breakout, retest, and we just ran to the moon and had a big, big crash. So coming back to present day, let me check that out. Like that's kind of similar, right? Really, really big multi-year distribution phase. Boom, boom, boom. There's a nice drop right there. Massive run up, and then here could be a big crash, and then we continue higher. That's how I'm thinking. Anna says, I bought April SVXY calls. I hope I'm in the right direction. SVXY sounds like you should be. So that's the pro shares. So if you have calls of that one, pro shares short-term futures ETF. This one looks like it's going to go down on SVXY. But again, this is going to probably go down with the market. These are the kind of leverage funds that you got to be worried about because this is a VIX fund, right? So you're shorting the VIX, and the VIX is going to be higher tomorrow. So this is going to go down tomorrow pretty significantly. And then at that point, Anna, it could bottom out. I hope it does for you. I hope it starts bouncing. I will be looking at some far out of the money calls in March. Before I sign off, I'll make a pretty ostentatious claim, ladies and gentlemen. I think, ready for this, I think the markets have new all-time highs again later this year. I know that sounds crazy. It's going to take one headline: coronavirus negated, or vaccine created for the coronavirus, or Trump administration finds coronavirus vaccine, or whatever administration, doesn't matter. Democrats come out with corona vaccine. And it could be just total false. It could be an absolute lie. People could be making it up. And then they come out with it later. But it's going to take one headline, and then everything's back to normal, I think. Russ says, airlines are obviously getting crushed. What kinds of things would you be looking at for reversal? First and foremost with airlines, number one, buy what you fly. So Southwest Airlines, perfect example. So, yep, Southwest will get a little crushed, but buy what you fly, man. If you fly Delta, look for the stronger airlines for sure. So Southwest is still in an uptrend. That one I'd prefer to be bullish on. Delta Airlines, still in an uptrend. I'd prefer to be bullish on that one if I'm playing Delta, down at 40. That's where I would have my puke orders, 39.68. That's the 100 simple on a monthly chart. United Airlines is in an uptrend, okay, for the most part. Obviously, we're getting absolutely smoked, but United, I don't personally fly United, but I get it. So I fly Delta and Southwest. American, I mean, we're looking at airlines just getting absolutely hammered. There's nothing about this chart that says anything bullish, at least for right now. So for me, Russ, I'm buying what I'm flying. I'm Southwest Airlines exclusively, a little bit of Delta, and other airlines that you could consider, right? Alaska Airlines, ALK. I mean, head and shoulders from the heavens, right? So it doesn't get more kind of scary reversal pattern-esque from that. So again, if you're buying this one, buy as low as you can. But there's going to be pure fear coming into the airlines. I still think it's overblown, but hey, the patterns are the patterns. I don't personally own a lot of airlines because it's a very hard industry. Airlines go bankrupt all the time, very similar to transportation companies. And it's a really, really hard industry to make a lot of money in. Huge, massive, insane overheads. Yes, people have to travel. Yes, there's only going to be a select few that ever get it right. And when it comes to reversal signals, man, I'm just going to be looking at volume. And one thing I'm not going to do, this is one thing I'm not going to do with size, folks. I am not going to try to pick the bottom with size. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Specifically for me, I will not be putting in 300, 400 shares or more on anything right now. Okay? That's kind of what it means to me. So Apple, Google, Facebook, like if you want to buy them, that's fine. I think that makes tons of sense to me. Just buy a smaller size for right now. You're not going to get the exact bottom. One other thing that you're going to want to do tomorrow is you're going to want to put your limits out there. Leave limits open tomorrow all day. So if you're trying to get filled for premium, if you're trying to get filled at a low, if you're trying to get filled, leave those orders open. We have no earthly idea what's going to happen tomorrow as far as just overall price is concerned. Especially if you're selling volatility like me and you're selling options tomorrow, leave those orders open. Very large chance they're going to get filled tomorrow. Okay? So just something to throw out there. If you're selling volatility, don't try to chase pennies. Leave the orders open with as much volatility as we're going to get tomorrow and later this week and over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Just leave those orders open. They could get filled. So if you're trying to do a puke order on something, you could probably leave that order open all March, just in case. I really don't know how bad it's going to get. I agree with a lot of my trading mentors. It's going to get a little worse before it gets a little bit better. I think. So again, I think this is it. Like we can see how quickly the buyers just keep giving up. I mean, I get it, right? That's why they're buying, is because there's a floor. But yeah, we're going to sell off hard tomorrow. We're absolutely, unquestionably going to have some pretty large spikes down. It's going to happen. And it's going to get a little frothy. So I hope I'm doing my best to answer any of your questions. Any other questions out there, ladies and gentlemen, that you guys have for me? David says, thanks for your time. Good luck tomorrow. I agree with you on the analysis. I'm looking to buy the dip. All right. Beautiful. Julian says, how can we see your legendary class tomorrow at 8 a.m. without being in New York City? I do not know. I'm not sure, man. I think you're going to have to go to traderexpo.com, maybe. TheTraderExpo.com. The Trader Expo, New York City. You have to go to their website. You're going to have to register. I know that. View webcast schedule. So let's see what we get. So there it is. I'm the first one up. You got it's me. Trader tax law versus day trading on the biggest day that we've ever had of all time. Which one do you like to be more important? Which room's gonna be a little bit more full tomorrow? Yates says, do you still have those 250 SPY puts, or were you able to sell on Friday for a profit? You mean buy to close? Yes, I was able to buy some for a profit, but I will be reselling tomorrow. Yep. So I was able to buy some to close for profits, and I will be able to resell tomorrow morning. So I'm still going to be selling volatility on the SPY, ladies and gentlemen. Again, just a broader market ETF. I still think we're going to have a pretty hard time getting down another 16% in the next 2 weeks. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm selling 250s. I'm selling some 240s. I'm selling some 230s. You'll probably even get money for 210s and 200s tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll say this: if you have a lot of money, okay, you have a really large account, and you're okay to have some risk out there for a while, you could sell some 180s for January 2021 for absorbent money tomorrow. You might get like $7, $8 for that. I have no idea, but you're going to get some serious move. Greg says, what are you thinking about the weekly options on AMD? I'm going to leave that open, man. I am. So great question. I'm going to leave that open because it's at 325. So if it fills tomorrow, I mean, that's going to be $6 lower than it closed almost, give or take. So plus implied volatility is still going to be there. I'm okay to leave that open. Am I going to get stopped out on it? Maybe. We'll see. But I'm okay to leave it open. Yeah. Very good question. So that's the weekly options newsletter trade on AMD at $43 calls for $3.25. I forget exactly what price those closed on Friday, but they're, it's going to be a pretty significant discount if we buy at $3.25 when stop at $2.25. With all the implied volatility tomorrow, I'm really entirely not sure. But again, for all of my real-life traders who subscribe to RLT, I think you're going to have some really fun opportunities tomorrow to leg into some stuff, to sell some premium, to take advantage of theta decay, and to take advantage of the hype. So we'll see. Good stuff. Yates says, is this going to be emailed soon so I can see the first parts? Yes, sir. Anything else? Rick says, what do you mean sell for premium? Rick, I'll be selling puts tomorrow on the broader markets. Premium is the amount of value that the contracts will be worth. If you don't know anything about selling puts, do not do it tomorrow. But for those people who know how, like there's gonna be a lot of money selling volatility tomorrow. A lot. You'll probably be able to sell and buy back the same day. Rick says, I've only traded naked calls. It's the exact same thing in reverse, Rick. So if you trade naked calls, then, naked puts is the same thing. So selling premium means you're selling. I mean, that's what you do when you sell options, Rick, is you're an insurance salesman. It's literally what you are. So you're selling premium to somebody who wants your insurance. Corey says, you guys are all awesome. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you being here. Anything else, boys and girls? Anything else you guys have for me? Emmanuel says you can sell credit bear call spreads. It's true. There will be some money on that, Emmanuel, but tomorrow probably won't be the best day for it because you're already down so far. We're already down so far. So the best time to sell a cred spread will be something like this when we have a little bit of a rally, because we're gonna do something like that, I would imagine. So when we do something like that, as we trade up, that'll be the time to sell some of those call spreads. Ben, you're welcome. Cool, team. Awesome. Anything else? You guys good? How you feeling? It's only 11:30. I've only been up for a few hours, just a few, 4 or 5 hours. No big deal. It's not that big of a deal. Frank says, good luck tomorrow. All right, man. I hope I can sleep. I will check for melatonin. I don't know if I have any melatonin. Justin says, sell puts tomorrow, sell calls, or buy back the puts on the next big up day. Yep. Yeah, pretty much it. One other thing to consider, I mean, just, obviously keep in mind, I do think that we're probably going to have some type of relatively okay bullish candle to some degree at some point. So when we have some big bullish candles, ladies and gentlemen, don't buy up here, please. Okay, so if you're buying, buy down here. Peel off your positions as they go higher and then rebuy them on the pullback. This chop is not over. There will be more sells. There will be more lows. We're not fully over yet. If we have 8-9% rallies in 2-3 days, don't buy up there, sell up there. Lock in premium, sell calls, lock in profits, and then rebuy on the lows, things like that. Julian says, not very sure how to know if you sold too many puts. Honestly, Julian, do the math. It's really that simple, man. How much money do you have in your account? Right? The net liquid. So take that number and then multiply it times 2, because that's your margin. So whatever you can net liquid your account out, that's your total margin. You can multiply that by 2. Go through your account and find out how many puts you sold and do the math. If you sold 10 contracts on the SPY at 250, well, that's 1,000 shares. So you better have $250,000. Julian says, shouldn't it be all cash secured? It depends, man. Depends if you have a margin account or not. If you have a margin account, then the answer is no. If you have a margin account, you're selling puts on margin. So, yeah, just go do the math and figure out how much margin's out there. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Kelvin says USO leaps. USO leaps. I don't personally have any, but oil is down just massive. Rick says, I wonder how many traders have gotten margin called in the last few weeks. I don't know the number, but I'm sure it's quite a few. I'm sure a lot of people, because people always get into margins very, very top of the market. It's just a very natural thing for people to do. So USO, yeah. I mean, it's getting down there pretty low. Kelvin, I know you're a big fan of oil and oil trading. Yeah, man. If you want to play the aggressive move, this is crude oil. Crude oil is down 27%. So we're about to make some extremely, I mean, you're coming into some massively ridiculous lows, and gas prices haven't even changed. It's crazy to me. Like when oil is down, like when's gas going to go lower? Come on. I want some $1 gas. Adam says they're about to $1.93 in Murfreesboro. That's good. Robert says going to load up on gas when it drops to stock with all of my toilet paper. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, folks. But again, I hope I answered some of your questions. We'll see what happens. But overall, again, if people come in and start buying, we can get some buying out here. This is the loss limit. So we can still get bought up because this is going to be the floor for a little bit. And then tomorrow at open, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, we can get some lower lows. And if we drop 2%, which I think we do, all right, I think we drop 2% out the gate tomorrow. They're going to put a halt on and then we chill out for like 10, 15 minutes, and then I think some buying starts coming in, and things kind of start settling down. Best I can possibly say, I think the most recent date of similar instances is August 2015, August 24th. Go back and back trade it, look at it, practice it, and see what you got. But yeah, it's really, really intense. It's gonna be fun though. It's gonna be fun either way. Yates says Purell is selling on Craigslist for top dollar. Yeah, it is, man. Pretty crazy. Pretty insane stuff. Well, team, again, I hope I just helped reassure you a little bit. It's going to be a madhouse in New York City. Alex says, what were the dates to say that you said to back trade? 8/24/2015. Due 1987, October 1987. Why not? It's never a bad thing. I mean, these are all the similar dates. May 2010, if you want to have a real blast, right? The flash crash of May 10. You're welcome to do those three. You knock out those three, you should be okay. Anthony says, this was cool. Thanks. Yeah, man. My pleasure. You're welcome, guys. You're very welcome. Diane says, thanks for your calm and perspective. I'll crush it tomorrow. Thank you so much. Kelvin says, do you have a video? I have a video of back trading 2008. I did that on Monday. Did you receive that, Kelvin, for Mentorship Monday? So I did that for 2008. I do not have a video back trading these particular dates. I have videos literally trading on that date live. Yes, that was only 4 years ago. So I have all kinds of videos back from there. But 1987, I was not born yet. And May 2010, I wasn't massively actively trading yet. So no videos from 2010. But as far as back trading, I have the 2008 back trade that I did back in Monday. So if you need that, Kelvin, let me know. Be happy to send it to you. Adam says, where do you like Starbucks? I'm thinking 200 on the weekly and then 100 on the monthly. That stock had a heck of a run, but it's a great long term. Starbucks is at the 100 simple on the weekly. 200 simple on the weekly is 64.86. I think that's a great spot. I really do. That's a very solid previous old resistance as well. So let's just call it 65 for round numbers would be a good spot to pick up some on Starbucks. And then the 100 on the monthly will be 51.19. You are absolutely correct. It's been on an absolute gargantuan of a run. You had a really, really beautiful 100% growth on Starbucks. And now we're pulling back about 30% of that move. So that's a natural correction. Really nice, really comfortable. Still nothing crazy or out of the ordinary or extremely insane on Starbucks. So I would agree, man. I don't personally have any position on Starbucks at that price, but if you want to, those are the prices I think makes a lot of sense. 65, and then, man, if we get to 52, that seems like an extremely reasonable price to buy Starbucks to me personally. Ben says, are you still planning on holding ExxonMobil long term? No, sir. I'm fully out of Exxon for a while ago. Yep. Good question, but yeah, man, I'm fully 100% out of Exxon. I mean, once something for me breaks the 200 simple on the weekly chart, I just don't really love it. And that's not even the weekly chart. That was the monthly chart. So once ExxonMobil started taking out the 200 on the weekly, which was way back in 2015, it just wasn't that exciting, but it kind of rebounded, it kind of held, but it just kept making lower highs. I just didn't like it, so I bailed. Took a loss on it, but it wasn't that massive of a loss. But yeah, ExxonMobil, I don't presently have any position in it. Is it going to go away? Most likely not, but it looks pretty ruthless right now. Greg says, who has the morning room tomorrow? Brad will be doing the first 3 hours tomorrow. Unfortunately, I wanted to be there. I'm going to do my best to get there as early as I can, but New York needs me tomorrow. Again, I'm not trying to sound audacious, but there will be hundreds of people that'll just be clamoring in to figure out what I have to say at market open. So I'll be 100% booked for the first 2-3 hours of market open. I know for sure I'm gonna lose out on tons of money. So I'm gonna do my best tonight to set up all my orders, limit sells, puke orders. I'll try to be doing that all night tonight. And so I'll do my best to stay cool, calm, and collected tomorrow morning. And if I get it right, I'll put a nice little mark on history. So we'll see. Adam says, what about buying Exxon and Oxy? Buying at 43.50 and 18 if they get there. They're going to get there tomorrow. So Exxon will almost hit 43 tomorrow morning. And OXY at 18 very soon. So if you want to buy them there, go for it. I don't personally have any position on any oil company other than BP. And my BP position right now is pretty small. Benjamin says it was BP. That's right. Yes. Yep. That's my only energy holding. It's a pretty small position. Kelvin says, Jan, you're the man. Thank you, sir. And I will send you that video in Slack. Albert says, on SPY, do you think a small buy in the 274 area, maybe, to see if we get filled? Yeah, absolutely. Again, at this point, man, anything is on the table. So you can throw in your limit orders. 274 is very likely. Very likely. We're going to open tomorrow around 283-ish. So, you know, on the SPY, yeah, we're gonna open around 282, 283. So 274 is only 7% down. That is legit possible for tomorrow, or at least this week. Yates says Royal Caribbean's going to go to 50. It probably will, man. Yeah, it most likely will. But hey, I mean, Royal Caribbean, they still actually create a product, and I mean, they're going to be down 65% randomly. Adam says Amazon 1700. Yep, mentioned that earlier. That would be where you'd want to put your limit buy. A little bit lower than that, actually. 16 and some change. Right below all these lows on the daily chart. So a puke order, 1662 on Amazon. Just in case, right where all of those stops will be hit is where you want to put your entry. Rick says, look at US dollar, Canadian dollar. Wow, Canada's getting shredded. Jeez. So if you're an American, it's a good time to go to Canada right now. You're getting 36 cents on the dollar. That is really, really interesting. Brutal. It's brutal for my Canadians, and I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that. Apologies, but my hands are tied on the, on the money thing. Nothing I can do. Just keep enjoying those beautiful summers. You guys have amazing summers up there. Dustin says, would you sell leaps? You mean puts, Dustin? I'm probably going to sell some tomorrow, yeah. Yeah, most likely. I'll sell 2 or 3. I usually generally don't sell a lot of leaps just because they do tie up a lot of position for not that much money. So I'm probably going to sell some. I normally don't. If I do sell them, I'll buy them back in April or May. The only leaps I have historically sold have been Tesla. So those are the only ones. And tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be outrageous money on Tesla. Tesla will gap down. It's going to get gnarly on Tesla, real gnarly. Tesla could see 600 tomorrow, no problem. So as Tesla gets down to the 600-ish area, it won't necessarily have to happen tomorrow, but whenever it gets down into the 590, 600 area, look to sell some puts if you want to get some shares. I know there's a lot of you who want shares of Tesla. It was at 900 days ago. So selling puts at 300 probably seems reasonable for some of you. So just something to consider. I did get out of my short calls at 950 for a massive gain, and now I'm just short the 450 March puts. 2 weeks to expiration. It has to drop $250 to get there. We'll see. It's possible, but unlikely at this point on Tesla. But again, we'll find out. Tesla could easily drop tomorrow 15%. Not tomorrow. It could. But 578 is going to be a strong spot for people to pick up some Tesla. Adam says Tesla off to 100 simple on the daily easy. Yep, and that's 485.77. Ricky says, are you sending out this recording? I record everything and send out everything. Yes, sir. Adam says EMA, not SMA. Your preference, man. It's all preference. I have the SMAs, they work. EMAs, they work. Everything works, just not all the time. All right, team. It's almost midnight here. I got to get to sleep. I got to wake up in about 4 hours. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go have fun. Enrich lives, love life, live life, and trade it. You guys rock. Bye.